Joining us for another installment of Husker Chat. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen. We're joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of Husker Online, as always, to talk about Husker football. And Sean, it had been a while since we'd seen the Huskers give the back of their hand to somebody like that, but what a home opener against Akron.
Yeah, arguably one of the more complete games Nebraska has played as a member of the Big Ten Conference in their 15th season. I mean, Nebraska records their first shutout since 2009, their most points in the game since 2012. So there was a lot there. Special teams had more punt return yards in this game than they had all of last season or the season before that or the season before that. So there were a lot of things positive about the outing. I thought just to see the number 2s and 3s not only play a lot, but play so well. I mean, they went 8 straight drives, Nebraska, with touchdowns, which that just doesn't happen. You call a lot of football games, Jayson. That doesn't happen very often. But then you see the number 2 group come in and go 3 of those drives in a row. So there was a lot to be excited about, and Nebraska did what they were supposed to do, which, as you know, is a lot easier said than done.
We all knew Akron wasn't very good, but were you surprised the Huskers were that dominant and played that well?
I was, because under Matt Rule, I mean, Nebraska had only broken 40 points a handful of times. I think 44 was their highest, and that was the Wisconsin game last year. But, like 40, 42 points had been kind of the highest output we had seen from Matt Rule teams. So to go to 68, that is just not easy to do. And I don't think a lot of fans understand that you have to have everything go right. I mean, Akron was also 1 of 14 on third downs. It wasn't like they were turning it over or throwing pick sixes and things like that. I mean, Nebraska's defense was getting stops on third down, and Akron, just couldn't get anything going. And when they did get something going, Nebraska blocked a field goal and made some things happen there.
Also, a bit of a story this week about how Matt Rule reacted to that, and he got after the guys and wanted them to keep the hammer down too.
Yeah, the video leak, which felt more kind of like a PR tactic by Nebraska. But, I get it. I mean, Matt Rule wants to hold his guys to a standard, and they, he thought that maybe they were slipping at the wheel a little bit there in that game and wanted to make sure they finished it out. And then, they've done things in the past, like the Chasing 3 shows and whatnot. And what they released was essentially something you would have seen on these all access shows. And there's a crew that runs cameras on things all the time. It is kind of funny that they refer to it as a leak when I think most people are smart enough to know that that would not exist in Matt Rule's world in Nebraska, where somebody's going to go rogue and leak a locker room speech.
This is Husker Chat. We're talking with Sean Callahan. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. How about the development? Yes, it's been just 2 games, and there are bigger fish to fry, but it looks like Dylan Raiola is really progressing in this offense.
Yeah, he right now leads the conference in total completions with 47. The next closest guy to him is 36. So he's got an elite of 11 completions over the next closest guy over 2 weeks. So that's fairly significant. Shows you how much they've used him and how much they like the weapons around him, what they're doing with Dylan Raiola. I think they thought it was important, though, that he had a game like this on Saturday. They probably kept him out there 1 additional series, but I think they wanted to. I think they're like, look, we need this to kind of feel good about what we're doing. And, we want Dylan to have a 300-yard day. He's never had one of these at Nebraska. And so they finished the job and probably kept him out there 1 additional series than you might normally would. But this team doesn't have a lot of experience to do things like this, and they were enjoying the moment.
It's also great for the program and this team to play so many guys. I mean, this is how it used to work back in the glory days of Nebraska football.
Right. And it doesn't happen that way really anywhere in college football. You just, teams don't carry as big of rosters or practice as many players as Nebraska has. But when you get a game like this, the real reward is you get to play all those kids. And, all 108 players played in that game. One that didn't was the punter, Archie Wilson, because Nebraska didn't punt on Saturday at all. But to get nearly 110 people in when, they're going to move to what's called a 105 roster is really a remarkable feat. And I think Matt Rule recognizes how important that is to the families and the players to get those third unit guys in, not just the 2s, but when you can get the third unit guys in and give them 5 plays, I mean, that is huge just for the culture and the morale of the program.
How about this week? Do we see a replay of last week?
You would like to think so. You worry about 11 a.m. though. Can this team be up and rolling and executing at that type of level for kind of a game that's not going to have a lot of juice? An FCS opponent, arguably the least recognizable name that's ever played at Memorial Stadium. I mean, Bethune-Cookman and Idaho State and Pacific have played here. Middle Tennessee State back in the early 90s was kind of an outlier game. But you don't typically get games like this at Nebraska or Houston Christians here with really no direct relation to the program. So I think that will be the challenge for the team. Can they get up and play at a high level? If you remember a year ago after they beat Colorado, the level kind of dropped off against Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa pushed them a little bit, and yeah, it was 38-3 final, but that game was closer than 38-3. I mean, it was, I think, 24-3 fairly late until Nebraska tagged in 2 late scores there to kind of make it look more than really what it was.
All right. Well, we will see how it develops on Saturday morning, bright and early at 11. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for your time.
All right. Thank you, Jayson.
That was Sean Callahan, the publisher of Husker Online, joining us for Husker Chats, brought to you every week by Akers Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.